Went through the whole show and said, oh, on second thought, I don't want that information out.
Oops.
Too bad.
Oh, no.
It's gone. It's going out on the internet. It's live. We are streaming.
This is Mercy TV,
Reset.
Wednesday night meeting.
You're rolling on me?
Yep.
Uh-oh. Hello to folks out there in TV land.
And the signs.
Welcome to our Wednesday night meeting, the purpose of which is to network, to do outreach, to help desk, and to network with folks on the issues of medical cannabis here, not just in Oregon, but across America and around the world. Obviously, most of our national and international work happens over the phone and through the internet. Most of the folks who get here are coming in from Washington, Colorado, other states, California, and looking to get their cards, see if it transfers, things like that. On occasion, we have folks coming in from other states, Illinois, Georgia, Wisconsin, places that don't have their card, because even though you're not a resident, you can still get your medical cannabis for Oregon. But you can only get the cannabis itself here in Oregon. Your garden would have to be here, silly things like that. So, welcome to folks. Hold on a sec as we try to get our live stream connection going. And we'll get to the meeting and to the news and information and stuff. The purpose of this meeting is to, as we said, to network folks on the issue. We invite patients who are looking for a grower or folks who are looking to become patients. If you're a grower looking for a patient or somewhere in between, best methods of medicating, changes to the system, and that's just the first cut of the issues. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3, come on. Hello, hello, hello. Why are we not coming in? Houston. Houston. Hello, 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 come on. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Well, hopefully the sound will come through on that. We should stop it and try it again. And so in the course of the meeting, we'll be talking with the folks here about the issues, you know, getting with the program, getting medicine now, finding a grower or to get growing themselves in the long term. And what to do with their medicine once they get it. Hello, come on now. Why are we working here? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, we got some folks on. Hello, hello. Well, I'm getting some reading. Let's go to the chat room. Is the 18th, right? Yeah. So hello out there, folks. See how I'm coming in? Please let me know. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello? Oh, yeah, it's got something. Okay. So, welcome, folks. We, I guess, start off the meeting by checking if there's patients looking for a grower. Are you looking to get with the program? Are you already card holders?
Yeah, we're just sitting in tonight, see what's going on. Kind of new to this area, so.
Okay. So then it'd be worthwhile to go over the process for getting your card. Hopefully you have a primary care physician who will sign for you.
That would be nice, huh?
Failing that, you'll need to get records of your condition. specifically chart notes. You'll want to get at least 3 visits over the course of a year, no more than 3 years old. But your condition has to be chronic. It has to be more than 6 months old. So that's why you need a year's worth of records. And so hopefully the primary care or emergency room care that you've had or seen on the condition, you've got records of this kind. It needs to be signed by an MD or DO, generally. Oh, excuse me. But if the MD or DO refers you to a specialist, a naturopath or a nurse practitioner or another medical professional who's not an MD or DO, but the doctor referred you to them and you have that note, then their chart notes on your condition will also qualify as a visit. So those are the sad technicalities and rules regarding the records and getting them. Then you can take that set to pretty much any of the clinics that have the specialists that will then see you. You can bring your records here. We vet them. There's a doctor that comes into Salem once a month that we vet records for, refer them on to the doctor. We have a list of other clinics, all the clinics that are happening in the state and the area pretty much on our website, so you can check that out, go through the list, check on your prices and timing. You know, our doctor coming in once a month doesn't work for some folks, especially if they need to renew. They're on a time frame there. And there's the Oregon Cannabis Connection, which has a list of even more resources in the back there. I don't know if we have everybody that's on the OCC on our webpage,
Quite
for
a few of
example.
them in there. A lot of information in there.
We'll have to update it, make sure it's in sync one of these days in my spare time. Yeah.
It's offline.
It's offline? Are we not going? Oh. All right, how's that? Hello, are we coming in sound-wise? Yeah, we didn't have it going even. No wonder it was no leave. Okay, so
Then you said you have one that comes in once a month. Is it usually the same time every month, or is it?
it's usually the second weekend of the month. This month it's 28th, so.
Okay. Your rate's pretty comparable to the rest of the places that offer that. They're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
aren't they?
To be honest though, our doctor is pretty rigid on her pricing, mostly because she has to come in from out of town. She's actually coming in from Washington State. So some of the other places are a little bit less. They also have payment plans and others, and our doctor doesn't really practice that, so
Right.
it might be worthwhile if you're financially strapped to shop around and make sure you're getting the best financial deal that you can.
We do have visual and audio.
Okay, cool. So welcome folks out there in live stream land. We hope that you enjoy your visit, and feel free to go to the chat room and type out any questions, comments, curses, or kudos that you may have about the show or the issue in general. Tonight we have a couple of folks that are talking about getting their card, getting with the program here.
Well, she's up for. We both need to renew. Hers is ready to renew. Mine I need to do.
Yeah.
It's been a financial
Wow.
ordeal for us to get to that.
Yeah, because then once you get your doctor's signature, you need to go register with the state, and they're going to ding you, or
Right.
try to ding you for another $200, unless you have one of the qualifying fee reduction cases, which is OHP or SSI or food stamps. Unfortunately, we haven't added like veterans to that. They're sorely in need of a break.
Certainly.
But it was hard enough to get PTSD added, so trying to get that on the fee reduction. But we'll keep at it, and we'll keep letting folks know what they can do to help with the process. So, but we'll vet the records for you in any case, even if you want to take them to another place. So,
Yeah, that's no problem. I've been through surgery. This
Okay, so you
Sure.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, yeah, check out the places, work out the best scheduling and everything for your situation. And yeah, go see the doc, get it signed up. You know, you need to fill out when the registration form, the grower, caregiver, and the patient.
Right.
Don't leave them blank. We were hoping to get something passed this legislative session that folks could designate, hey, I'm a patient without a garden. Let's not, you know, do this nonsense, because they keep trying to count that as a number of gardens that's out there, and like it's a big issue.
Right.
And it does the patients a disservice, especially when we're trying to set up laws like the dispensary law that just passed here, the 3460. You know, trying to get facilities, network abilities to access to come in and be disseminated to the community and folks to make funding, you know, back into it. And it goes back to the growers. You know, it seems like a common sense system, but we'll see. You know, politics, everything else rears its ugly head.
Well, they got to figure out how to get some of their share of the pie.
Well, you wish it was just money, but I think it's control too. They want to stay in this position of the high ground of it's evil and dangerous and you have to be watched, and that's why we're here. You know, and I kind of hate going along with that premise. You know, even if it means freedom to a certain degree, it's still keeps the status quo in place, and they could actually come in and, you know, stomp on. They haven't said that, you know, we can't, you know, step on anybody. The recent federal statements about respecting states, you know, laws on this issue just means that they weren't going to file an injunction today. You know, it doesn't mean that the DA ain't going to raid the first, you know, group that's successful. You know, they didn't say anything about that. So, but we're hoping to make too many targets for them to mess with.
Yeah.
Not only are we going to have the medical cannabis groups organizing and continuing to be cooperatives, and now we have the facilities that will be able to take in the excess and make it available to the folks that need the excess, and to get the reimbursement, you know, back to the grower community. So that's in place, and that's a big thing. And hopefully, if we can keep all the interests out of it, both special and otherwise, you know, there'll be something that folks can use. But there's also an opportunity for hemp in Oregon with the federal statement about blah, 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 because we have a hemp law here in Oregon. It was 2009, but no one's dared to file for a license and plant a crop and risk running it having jerked out and your land seized and you and your family and everybody you know slung into pokey and possibly forgotten for an extended period of time, like they did to that poor student down in California a couple of months ago, that we the people are now paying a couple of $1 million because of a lawsuit.
How about the Indian tribe that plants hemp and right at harvest the feds come in and raid?
Right, that's kind of what the folks are expecting for the first, you know, otherwise American hemp crop. But in Colorado, they've got, you know, crops already planted and growing. I believe. I know that they, with their law passed, you know, when they boom, you know, was one of the first things that many of them were doing. Of significant note was Vermont passed a law which excluded the requirement for getting federal permission. So that, in conjunction with the statement that the feds aren't going to mess with them, you know, should allow those folks to, I mean, there's just no basis for it. So if the feds are going to interfere, then they're not really freaking interfering there. And we'll hopefully, you know, see you know, a multi-state revolt accordingly. We know that there was a conference of mayors held a couple of months back, and they passed a resolution stating that the drug war was a waste and they should stop doing it, and the feds should stick out of local laws and local affairs there, you know. So we know that the sentiment is there at that level, you know. And we're seeing it, there's a municipal initiative in Michigan where they're going to have legalization in Lansing and a couple of other cities. I believe Detroit. But I think the real game is here in Oregon, because I'm certain that our law is going to end up being a model law. We're going to see this one as the one that's replicated as successfully throughout. Not that the others aren't good. I mean, they have. The fact that it's happening at all, that we're discussing it. We're talking. It's like we fought up to this point of the hill. Now we're at level, and we're they're trying to talk about getting something taken out and back down and stuff. We're at the high ground that we're working from now. Thanks. So once again, folks out there in livecast land, be sure to type on in with your message there if you have one. Let me bop over and check the settings one more time. Hello. All right. Well, they say it's coming out okay. I'll take their word for it. All right, so we got your records together. You've gone to see the specialist. You've signed, got the signature there. You're now prepared to mail it in to the state with your registration fee.
Right.
And noting that if you have a grower other than yourself, so that is if the name of the grower is other than yourself, you'll have an extra charge for that now.
Right.
So if the person that is growing for you has other people that they're growing for, then they don't necessarily need to have your card, which is the circumstance of having that name difference. So if it's somebody that already has other patients, you can put your name down the grow side of your grower, wherever that is, and you can avoid this $50 fee.
Sure. That's right.
Be aware that, again, that consequences is, so if there are other patients are like, gonna not go soon, he's gonna be unprotected then if he's relying on that. So you wanna make sure that coverage is not necessary. And otherwise, you can't leave those blank. You got those fees. They don't have any payment programs or anything. Full one, out the cash of the barrelhead. And make copies before you mail it in, because those copies and your certified mail receipt is your card until your actual one comes in the mail. So folks need to be aware of those steps there. Get your things, go see the doc, get signature, make copies, go to the post office, certified mail, keep that group together, the other group at home, and of course the things on filling out and all. So make sure you don't make mistakes on that. Don't forget the fee, because then it will hold you up. Of course, they might hold you up because they send something to the doctor. They're getting kind of normally just communicate either by phone but they've been insisting on sending out letters, and they're sending it out late in the cycle, and the doctor's getting it late in their cycle, so they're not getting it back in X number of days, and sending people letters that, you're denied because we haven't got back from your doctor. And it's just been a matter of timing, and everybody's slipping behind on it there. And really, you shouldn't be relying on the letter. They should be able to call these folks, especially when they've talked to them before. They're the multi-time doctor. And that seems to be the thing about it. These doctors who are seeing a number of patients, they're treating like clinic doctors instead of individual doctors, and saying, when you've got a number of patients, they have the Levesque rules. For Dr. Levesque, who was the first doctor who signed for folks way back when, and he signed for everybody. And so they started making up these special rules for Dr. Levesque's patients. They had to go this extra level scrutiny. So if you have your doctors filling out with these things called SOAPs, where it's got it's like 6 pages of stuff describing your physical health and all this other stuff, that's because they're a Levesque doctor, or it had to go through this extra level of nonsense. That's not stuff you have to mail into the state. It's what your doctor ends up keeping. So if your doctor's actually, you're like, what the? I'm
Just
not
think about
asking to
more
have
paperwork
my
and
brain
shit.
replaced or have an extra heart installed here or something here, doc. We're just, need you to confirm I have this condition. Okay, I'm not asking for major work here or something. So, hopefully there won't be any hang-ups in the process. You mail it in. The first thing you should get back is that card or letter to say the card's on its way. But you keep that paperwork, that certified mail receipt,
Sure.
and that's your thing. Now you can go to the various places, the clubs and co-ops and cafes and dispensaries. What the heck? I mean, once you're inside, they've got menus and everything else, price tags. They work in the same manner as a dispensary, so
Right.
might as well call them that. Unfortunately, they don't have a legal leg to stand on. Even patients in there, if they happen to raid, can find themselves swept up and their card negated because they're engaged in activity that's not covered by OMA, this dispensing in this manner here. And that is the exchange for,
There seems to be quite a few of them around.
yeah,
From what I've read, most in the Cannabis Connection, most of the housing seems to be down in Southern Oregon. There's a lot of you hear a lot. Most of the trouble down in there between the.
well, the raids recently, there was a place that was local that was hit about the same time as the southern, the Eugene and
Yeah.
Southern Oregon, Medford. But yeah, I haven't heard, I mean, Smokies,
Well, the ones that I have
Some
heard
stuff.
have gotten in trouble around here is because they've been engaging in things other than the medical marijuana program.
that doesn't help. Yeah,
No.
mixing and particularly having parties where the verification of people as patients is rather lax, as it were, along with some other rules.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't
I
help.
mean,
That doesn't help our.
And if you end up
cause.
serving alcohol to minors and stuff, I think you're really losing your perspective and standing
Yeah.
on shaky public relations grounds. But silly me, I'm just the head of this nonprofit organization, and the silly things we have to go through. And they weren't operating in that manner too. So that's maybe one of the things you want to check up about the organization or group that you decide to become a member of and pay your day use fees and everything just to gain access, to, all the resources and things that you need.
Yeah, we don't really care about that either. Having to have a pay a fee
Mhm.
or.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. One of the places, they waive the fee on Wednesday nights, I guess, to compete with us or something like that. So you might be able to check that out later on that night.
Yeah.
But the others, unfortunately, they don't have much in the way of a tour so that you can check it out and otherwise decide if you want to have your hard-earned cash there. Some of them have day use fees, so you can go there for a day and not have to do the membership itself. But you want to make sure of what it all is, because some of them will hit you all this stuff down the way, and you're like, whoa, I thought oh, well, that was just the membership. Now everybody pays a day use fee, and then, you're, and some of them, they match you with growers, as it were, but the relationship with the grower is not without strings. It's somebody who's coming in and they're gonna give you their stuff, and the place is gonna get a percentage of the funding that the grower next works with the patient.
Right.
So, and on the other hand, there's places that do deliveries. There's like 3-4 places that deliver.
Sure.
I'm not sure I want to know how that they're doing that.
Well, I think that could be good. I mean, some people might have a condition that doesn't allow them to.
Oh,
get
it's
out.
absolute. I think it's absolutely a necessity, and
Right.
there's a medical necessity, certainly to giving it to these people, whether or not they have their cards. But the accepting of something in consideration for the medicine, now that's sticky.
Right.
That's where you're not covered by OMA. Any law enforcement that wants to set up a sting of that nature is just going to be sweeping in all these delivery people like bugs off the wall there. So. But it hasn't happened, so they don't really care about these individuals, and I'm glad that they're able to do it because it is a necessary thing. And it's not wrong; it's the war that's wrong. You know, and none of these people are, in my opinion, the villains here. So, law enforcement is going to try to spin it that way, and certainly, oh my God, it's going to get in the hands of children and everything. But
Yeah.
they've been trying that saw ever since the law came in. You know. And way before the medical cannabis law was in place, pets as well as kids have been eating pans full of medicated brownies, and not a single one of them has died yet. Yeah, so I think it's safe to say that that verifies every single study that's been done to say that there is no LD50 or lethal overdose level for cannabis. Marijuana, that it is as safe and benign a substance as there is on this earth. Grass, potatoes, is more toxic.
Right.
I mean, if you consume the same amount of raw potatoes, you would
Some
have a
house
toxic reaction.
plants are deadly. The
I think the culture is slowly shifting.
I hope so, because to date, this war, this freaking downright evil war, has killed more people, including children, than the thing it's protecting us from. So prohibition has killed more people, more kids than cannabis. So that number is only going to get greater, is only going to be more the longer we let this crap go on. And for something that's about the children, I think it's particularly evil that has occurred. And it gets more hideous as you find out that some folks are aware of it and don't really care and keep doing it anyway, because it's your kids and not theirs.
Beyond that, it's really hampered the research in this country.
Oh, yeah.
Of finding out what really is all there to it and what other benefits there are to it. It's really, we're way behind this country on research and finding out what really the qualities are and
right.
the benefits.
And the ways to apply it and all the aspects of it, the fact that you can pretty much negate or reduce the THC and just concentrate on the cannabinoids, the CBD, CBNs, and they're way ahead of everybody else in Israel on this. They're getting the strains of it, they're getting the processes for it. So
I read that in one of the Cannabis Connections, the study they've been doing in Israel in the elderly homes.
Right, and in Spain, Italy, France, Germany, particularly the studies in Spain, showing the potential for cannabis to cure cancer.
Bye-bye,
Exactly. It's always the
Bye-bye,
same results.
Have a good night.
See you guys. Thanks for coming.
Guys later, bye.
It's always the same result. They're able to reduce, sometimes completely get off the pharmaceutical
Oh, yeah.
killers, and that's really hard on your body, and really hurts society more than anything. I'm sure there's
Oh yeah,
just get a hold of those and-
that's a big deal there. I mean, the quality of life, certainly, that's what folks are really, really affected by, why they really turn to cannabis, so they can go out and have a life. I mean, these things are just, the cure makes them more bedridden than the thing they're trying to fix with there. And there's a real financial aspect to it too. And that may be why there's such a
You can drink it.
such a problem getting the progress
Make
thing.
this yourself.
12 years old started.
Yeah.
Each mash.
And you smell like what you do. Yeah, it kind of smells like olive oil.
It is. You want to drink some?
Sure, I'll try some. Oh, that's cool. I don't know. How does it do that without pulling it back anymore?
We're having a little process here. We're applying some cannabis oil, and we'll talk here in a minute on the process therein and application.
I like olive oil.
Extra virgin.
The thing about the THC-less cannabis, as we were talking about, is that THC is the part that's supposed to get you high, is the buzz, and that supposedly is what Prohibition is all excited about. So if you have stuff that's not going to get you high, or a process that's not going to get you high, they can't have the issues with it, the complaints, because that supposedly is it. And when it's applied topically, you know, you're going to avoid the toxicity while getting that cannabis applied directly to the area that's affected. So for joint, skin conditions, yeah, the cannabis oil is not only ultra effective in getting the contact point, but it's you're not going to have to worry about all the things that you would with consuming it orally. You know, either smoking it or in baked goods or otherwise, because it's not going to get into your bloodstream in the same manner. You're not going to be caught that buzz. You're not going to worry about operating heavy machinery. You're not going to worry about testing positive, or shouldn't, even in open skin conditions, I would imagine. But we need to verify that, test it out. We haven't. We want to make sure of that.
Well, our patient in Sparks, Nevada, he has melanoma. He gave a phone call to our live show. He says he's 90% cured of the melanoma. He put away his wheelchair. He's put away his walking thing. He's just on a cane. His speech and everything. I mean, and the doctors don't. What's happening to you?
Yeah, he had like 3 to 6 months to live, and he's, you know, already out to a year now. And
how can you deny that?
but we've got the pictures now too, because they took pictures of it all the way through, and it's you know, gone from this black, you know, almost encrusted thing to, you know, peak and healthy and healing and all. And as far as the beating the cancer too internally, you know, boom, here we go. Of course, they're gonna take all the credit. Oh yeah, this is what we did. That helped fix it and all that. Really. Of course, they hedged their bets when they, you know, kicked him out the door. I believe he's still going through treatments though, and we have those pictures online, and we'll make those available to folks along with the formula or recipe, if you will, for the oil. It's a very simple one. We'll go through it here later on in the program. And but first, want to make sure that we've you know, got your form, got you through all the process there. I think we got to the point where you've gotten your signature, you've mailed it in, and you've got your paperwork now, and now you're going around to the various places to get some medicine now, while you get to your long-term solution of growing, you know, yourself or finding a grower. And do you have a grower in mind, or do you have a plan to grow yourself, or?
Can you speak up a little bit, miss?
We do have one in mind, and it works out for, like you say.
Well, we don't use specifics like an address or anything, but so it's somebody you know who has a space and knowledge to grow and all.
Oh yeah.
Are they growing for somebody now, or are they growing for somebody in the past? Then okay, good. So good. That's established one, and that's a case where you might be able to put your name down and save the thing, the growing thing. So,
exactly.
Particularly if it's more than one patient.
Well,
so good, you know, and that's a really tough process.
That's the fortunate part about it. You don't have to have your grow site can be different than where you live, so your residence where. So that's the benefit of.
But that costs you $50. So.
No, it's the name that difference.
Right, if the name's different, then it'll cost you.
So yeah, if we put the grower's name down and his address, then they would get the charge. But his name and the grower's address.
Yes.
Saves them that 50. Unfortunately, we hate to play these silly ass games.
Right. Well, I mean.
That's the war, though. And until we end it, it's going to be. I mean, same as having to get this freaking license. Why? You know? Oh, that's right. You're evil and dangerous. You need to be watched. You know, freaking. Jeez, where did we hear this before? Oh yeah, they're Juden. That's right. Yeah, boy. So. Soon enough, though. Hopefully, we've got legalization coming through this next legislative session.
How do you think that like in Washington, how do you think the legalization is going to affect the existing program for the patients there? Is that
It's going to give them more resources because they can go to any of these places. It's the recreational community that can't go to the
Right.
medical cannabis community and tap into them. So,
Right.
but it's
I just
perfectly
noticed
legal
this-
for a patient to go into any other place and
it's
avail
certainly been an
themselves.
advantage in Oregon, being under the program.
Mhm.
The community works within itself, and usually the cost of your medication being a patient is traditionally more more reasonable than somebody that's not a patient having to obtain it illegally or whatever. So I'm just hoping that it doesn't raise that cost for the patients.
No,
that rely
in
on
fact,
So-
it should make more options available for the community. Now you can go out as a group, pool your monies, go to a place, get a sufficient quantity, and then come back and disseminate it accordingly, to getting that price break there. Whereas before, some of the Washington's probably going to be a while before they have, dispensary system like that for the medical cannabis community. It exists, the relationship between the patient and the grower. So the ones that are, disseminating it to the patients that are not, and that's a one-for-one relationship in Washington State. So giving medicine from, patient A to patient B really isn't covered. It's up to the grower and then to that patient. Here in Oregon, patient A to patient B or caregiver, one card over to another can exchange without consideration. They don't even have that in California or Washington State, really.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they don't have groups and meetings and networks like us. They're dependent on this clinic/dispensary system. See,
Right.
like they do. Which is pros and cons, They're forcing them to that, they don't do that, man.
Yeah, I'm not
We
real
have our-
familiar with other states. Like in California, they don't have provisions for a grower for patients, or
Yeah, a patient can designate a grower.
oh, okay.
And what they usually do is that's done actually in the clinic process, because for California and Washington, you don't have the card. What you carry around is basically a note from your doctor. In the case
Okay.
of California, in some cases Washington, it's not the doctor but the clinic that has signed for it and is issuing him this card. But that's only good for their clinic,
I got it.
their dispensary, their network, their resource center then. So going into another one with their other one, I guess that there must be some, okay, we can accept that, you're, even though there's no provision in the law. But there's nothing in the law to say you can't do it. I guess that's what they're relying on. Of course, the feds don't care and just come in and pop you anyway. Which they know, so.
Right.
But I don't think just like it's not going to affect here in Oregon, Isn't going to take medicine from it. It's not going to make medicine more expensive. It's going to make it less. It's going to make more available.
You would hope so, huh?
Yeah, logic would dictate, but the feds they're never operated by logic and are going to do what they want to do, what profits and benefits them and stuff. So.
I'm curious to see, and hopefully they're watching, have a study. I'm curious to see if alcohol use, at least at first, goes down a little bit
Mhm.
when that comes online as opposed to now.
Right.
I'm sure it will.
I'd put money on that.
I put money on it, at least for a while, that alcohol use comes
Mhm.
down. Or some
Yeah,
of the
any
sales
place that
probably
they've
bump
studied
up.
that phenomenon,
Yeah?
the most prominent one, I guess, was Australia when they decriminalized. And there was 10, 11%, something like that.
That's incredible.
But what was significant was the number of incident related, so all the ancillary damage, the domestic abuse calls, the traffic things, the shootings, the stupid people accident, I mean, all of it, was like
Right.
off the table there, too. That was, and I remember the articles because at the end, the Australian guy, researcher, was saying, he was going, this is phenomenal, and we followed this down, and la la la, and I wonder if the Americans know about this. And I thought, oh yeah, the alcohol industry is very much aware of what's going to happen when cannabis is legal and how the use is going to get down.
Well, I'm sure.
They don't really care about the oh yeah, they're probably aware of that too, but they've got PR men working to suppress that information and make sure the American public don't see it, if
I'm
anything.
sure that they're going to try to get their be right
Yeah.
in there on it as
What's
well.
obscene is at the same time they've all got campaigns to sell cannabis infused stuff, like the cigarette company. For every, all this money they spent to keep it down, they've already got the campaigns to sell it when it finally breaks and it's legal. They'll step right up there and be,
Sure.
selling it right to your kids, without a problem. Yeah.
And they can say at the end of the commercial, in the danger of your health, this may happen to you.
Well, that's something that cracks me up. I mean, they can't let cannabis loose because it might be harmful. We can't prove that it's not harmful. Some proven negative kind of nonsense here is the current scam. Yet, because marijuana might, they accuse it of causing cancer, but it never has. It might do this, it might do that, it might kill you, it might cause this. But all the stuff that does do that now, that's out on the market, all they have to do is say it's real fast at the end and they're off the hook. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, it might kill you. Or a little fine print.
Well,
And that's it.
That's a pretty
So-
long list of side effects that they give you.
Yeah, it's like more than half the commercial then. So,
Yeah, and you kind of joke around a little against cannabis side effects.
so that just proves, it's lies within lies within lies, and we, need to make change by our vote first, and then our dollars, to get it to stop. To get us quit wasting this money and these options available to us, and all the business and industry and jobs that would come about. Granted, some DEA jobs are going to have to go, but c'est la guerre.
Getting back to the hemp industry, just creating the hemp industry that we could.
Yeah, I mean, but they could take the Swiss example, who turned all their narc cops into hemp field inspectors, going out and testing somebody's plant. You're over their 0.3 THC limit, and they ticket you, and the farmer protests, and or not, or pays the fine. And there's none of these, helicopter SWAT team, root up everybody, shoot the dog, nonsense there. It's,
Yeah, I understand.
but I don't know, some of them have gotten kind of addicted to that and stuff, so I don't know, it can be kind of hard to break them of some of these nasty habits, I'm afraid, but we still have to try anyway. So make sure you're registered in voting. We've got another one this November. You want to be registered by October 12th is the deadline for registering there. For this one. Certainly want to get geared up for the next cycle, 2014. We expect to see several initiatives on the ballot then. This cycle, though, we want to deal with all the folks that voted no on the PTSD bill that was through here.
Yeah,
What kind of sadistic,
Yeah,
cruel
it's
monster
unfortunate.
would possibly deny vets, that to say, oh yeah, keep doing this evil crap to them, to ignore their testimony and stuff. Well, we'll give you a chance to, we'll give a list of them and get it out to folks. Not only that, though, we want to go after judges and district attorneys, the ones particularly participated in these raids that we just had here
Sure.
in Eugene, Southern Oregon even. Yes, sir.
And to make sure that they don't have negative people on the different panels.
Well, yeah, all the groups that are appointed downwind of that, directors of this department and the folks assigned to that committee, that's kind of a ripple effect to change that, like getting stuff done through the ACMM. But we want to make sure we go with that principle, begin on that, getting folks registered, voting, getting everybody they know to do the same, and getting our own voting guide out there.
Getting a voice out there, yeah.
So, a lot of folks look at the judges when it comes to thinking, who knows what, but we can now get the information from our community, speaking with the defense attorneys who are having to defend folks, they know too. Certainly these legislators, the DAs that are, pick these guys out of the news stories, who are doing, making these statements to say, we're going to continue the prosecutions in spite of the statements or, you know, laws and this and that, you know. We're going to continue to waste money in these, you know, difficult times on this kind of nonsense.
Or put money in my pocket.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but they, you know, have now exposed themselves, and that's, you know, our turn to make them pay for it. You know, I think we spoke big this last cycle when Ellen Rosenblum, you know, pretty much came out as the pro-cannabis candidate, and, you know, such a political thumping was leveled on the opponent. You know, it was, you know, had ripple effects. Now I think that, you know, yeah, you're have to be someone who's not very wise in the ways, or really thinks that, you know, we're nothing to come out so anti-medical cannabis, especially again. But we shall see. That's our chance to find out, especially with the hemp, you know.
Oh yeah.
Because that's, you know, the current the current arguments for you know, preventing hemp, you know, they're like reefer madness. It starts to make sense compared to some of this crapola that they're trying to spin.
Right.
Now what's going to happen is, if you allow hemp, we're going to grow medical cannabis quality marijuana in there, and they're not going to be able to tell them apart. See, it's going to like hide it in there. So first off, they're saying that we're going to defy nature, and these plants are not going to cross-pollinate. We're not going to get the stalkiest, most, you know, worst unmedical, you know.
No.
You know, what person who wants to have a good thing is going to attempt to do that? But somehow we're going to defy nature. But that's even more incredible, that they won't be able to tell the difference between these two. This one
Yeah,
bushy bud-like thing next to the stalky seed, you know, cut a few
Right.
little leaves. It's like, you know, if they're serious, then we have deeper problems with our law enforcement. I mean, there's a certain cognitive level of reasoning. You know, what's a square? What's a round thing? What is this blue? Come on now. I used to have certain motor skills and ability, and then you can't tell these two apart? No. You're fired. Let's take your gun away. I'm sorry. No.
I can see having as a carload of teenagers drive along, not realizing it's just him
Uh-huh.
going, "Whoa, look at-"
Well, and that's happened throughout the Midwest. You know, there's a lot of feral marijuana crops along there. They've got this program to come along and pull it up every year to the tune of a couple of $100 million, right?
Really?
And so it does, you know, because it's like marijuana. And I mean, there's stories all over, at least Chicago area where I was, of kids doing that. You know, getting it, drying it out, and trying to smoke it, and it's like rope.
It's good.
You know?
A headache, huh?
Oh yeah, it's like the only high you get is gasping for breath from the stuff. It's like it's hemp, you know.
Right.
It's specifically bred for its fibrous stuff. Heck, it's probably pure ruderalis instead of a sativa or even indica, you know. And so it's probably all stock. Maybe have a lot of leaves and stuff. The buds are probably non-existent. They're very seedy. They're very full of seeds.
Well, the use of it is pretty much endless, you know.
Oh yeah.
People that that are against deforestation
Mhm.
or logging and stuff like that, they should be a
Oh,
big
yeah.
proponent of.
I'd love to go down to all those mills that just closed and say, whoa, 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 not so fast. Hey,
Yeah.
you know, we got some coming in, but it's not gonna. We're gonna have to retool a little bit here,
Right.
and there's another industry, you know.
Exactly.
And the thing is that we're going to be taking, instead of, you know, cut down tree logs, it's logs made out of hemp fiber, right?
Right.
It's going through the process. You know, we've got to go through all kinds of things. Well, at the end, we've got to take our hemp-based epoxy or oil, if you will, and our hemp curds and fiber and stuff, and put it all together into this big square log or stick, if you will, of now compressed wood, if you will.
Right.
Only it's a much tougher one, and so when it's not going to, your normal saws are not going to be able to cut through this stuff. We have to get a new saw for that. But otherwise, the mill can, you know, go on and process as usual. And those places that we've, you know, stripped it bare, we're having mudslides and stuff like that. Well, it's hemp now, you know. And those layers of land, you know, where we have little to no water, you know, it's hemp, you know.
Makes sense to me.
And that's, you know, low maintenance, low everything. You know, it's a crop that you use between crops because it doesn't take nutrients out, it puts stuff back in, you know. it's a
very high yield crop.
Yeah, you know. But
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.